This is my post-rereading the story kind of wrap up and thoughts. The little thing people put in the back of books sometimes, the afterwards, or sometimes it's a foreword. I really don't like forewords. Are you telling me about this book and how it changed your life before I even read it? No, I picked up a copy of 1984 recently, and it did that. Very, very besides the point. But this was Angel Notes. And going through it again, I really actually do like this story. Now, obviously, the translation and editing isn't the best, and how much of that can be chalked up to Nasu's writing style and how much of that can be chalked up to the translator's first language probably not being English, who knows, but there were definitely times I got very tongue-tied with wrapping this up, and if something didn't make sense as I was reading it out in the audiobook, I must apologize. But yeah, there's so many concepts in this book that would appear in later Nasuverse works. We got the concept of you killed me and I come back. You got the concept of killing somebody and then that person coming back, of course, reused in Tsukihime. You got the Black Barrel, which, of course, was reused in, famously, Fate Grand Order, Lostbelt 6, or 5, technically, leave me be. You got the concepts of A-rays, which were in Lostbelt 6. Looking back at this, it's clear that Nasu took a lot of these older concepts and just shoved them into Fate Grand Order when he had the time to just write whatever the fuck he wanted. I can appreciate that. Other things to note about Angel Voice, or Angel Notes, I liked the dialogue in this. There were quite a few characters that just, you paint a picture of them in your head, even though no character has a name. Like the Beast guy. I pictured that dude as like a fucking lion type, right? Kind of like a Khajiit from the Elder Scrolls, I guess. And then, of course, you got the most prolific description of a character in the main angel of the story, who is just doing her thing, playing a guitar. It's kind of amazing that the image of just someone jamming away on a unplugged electric guitar, this came out before Fully Cooley. Was that inspired? Did Fully Cooley get inspired by Angel Notes? Yes. That's canon. Don't look it up. But yeah, just a very post-apocalyptic world would of course come back in many Nasuverse works. Just the whole feel for this, and I hate to keep harping back to it, the whole feel for this with A-rays and beast folk and whatnot really does feel like Lostbelt 6. Even the demonic sword user you can chalk up to the fairy knights and the Lostbelts. Each one has a power of the nuclear bomb. It really sticks out to me. I guess what Nasu said at the start of wanting to go back and, make this into a real story, he kind of did. Though, of course, with fate twist, naturally. It is kind of sad, because I would like to see a work actually set in this universe or expanded upon. Just like this post-apocalyptic world. This guy's carrying around a Black Barrel, which, as an aside, the Black Barrel in this is clearly very different than the Black Barrel in Fate Grand Order. This thing, I'm picturing like, a sniper rifle, shoots a giant-ass shot, right? And he also has just other guns on the side, I guess. But the Black Barrel in Fate's fucking enormous. Oh, that's an interesting appeal, but yeah, I really wish there was a Type Moon work actually set in this world, because it stands very much on its own, despite being a progenitor of basically everything Type Moon related. The protagonist himself is unique, though I realized in the middle of reading, and you're probably going to notice this in the voice, in my mind I was picturing a gruff, older gentleman, but in the story, it's clear that he's written to be 20, which I don't think makes any sense, based on how he's written, I mean. He's written with a sense of authority, I guess. he sounds older in how he's written, and so I voiced him as if he had been through a lot, or at least tried to. I don't know how that's going to sound in the edit. But yeah, very interesting story. Very interesting story. And I thought about going through the definitions and the ancillaries, but though honestly, having gone through the story, I feel like I get most of the concepts. Though I am on one right now, and here's something. Type Pluto, type Venus, type Mars. I guess that makes sense. Type Moon. I guess that's where they got type Moon from. Literally the progenitor work. Though, if you ask me, it's totally unrelated to everything. The main character, to me, sounds a lot and reads a lot like prototype Tono Shiki, which makes sense. Tsukihime was their next work, but go and read some of the Tsukihime stuff that takes place specifically in the future and tell me that shit does not read like this. This is just edgy Shiki. It also reminds me a lot of some key protagonist, like the protagonist of Planetarian. It reminds me of this. Honestly, Planetarian is a very similar work to this now that I think about it. Guy walking through a post-apocalyptic world, only human left, meets a cute girl. Yeah, very similar. Turns out to be freaky on the inside.